Did you seriously think you could just sneak a wedding storyline past everyone? This isn't how it works. Aurora not in this family. Those were the words that set everything off. And honestly, if you've watched this family unravel over the years, you already know exactly who said them, and why the internet lost its mind the moment the clip leaked. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving straight into the chaos swirling around Aurora's alleged secret wedding plans, the sudden blow-up over Coyote Pass, and how all of this is quietly tearing apart the carefully crafted story. Robyn has tried so hard to protect, and trust me, once we start laying out the timeline, the pieces fall together a little too neatly. So let's back up to the moment this whole thing took a turn. Apparently, there's a theory. And I'm going to be honest, it's a credible one, that Aurora's relationship has been serious for a lot longer than the show made it seem. The big "will you be my girlfriend" scene, the awkward meet the dad moment, the heavy breathing panic attack before introducing the boyfriend at Robyn's house. Yeah, according to several people close to the Brown kids, that was all filmed months after the relationship already existed. And if that is true, then the wedding rumors make way more sense. Because why would a 22-year-old who has supposedly been casually dating suddenly be at the center of a wedding storyline? Why would producers be scrambling to build a narrative out of nothing? And why would Cody, who barely shows up for anyone anymore, suddenly be hovering, posturing, and talking about protecting his daughter's purity like he's a chaperone from the 1800s? Well, because there's something bigger going on, something that ties this wedding drama directly to Coyote Pass, the failed dream Cody still can't let go of, and the only leverage Robyn has left to keep him from completely slipping through her fingers. See, this is where the theory starts to get interesting. A lot of people think Cody's sudden obsession with Aurora's boyfriend isn't about purity or tradition. It's about control. It's about ownership. And it's about the one thing he knows he can still manipulate: his youngest daughters. And honestly, you don't have to squint hard to see it, because when you combine Cody's belief that his daughters belong to someone, Robyn's desperation to keep the only storyline she has left the family's crumbling connection to Coyote Pass, and the fact that TLC allegedly wants another Brown wedding, you suddenly understand why Aurora's love life is being treated like a high-stakes political event, not some normal adult relationship. And this is just the beginning. We'll get into how Robyn started losing control of the narrative, what the other Brown kids revealed behind the scenes, and why Aurora's wedding might be the breaking point that exposes everything the show has been hiding. So let's get into how this whole thing even became a bombshell in the first place. Because on the surface, it looked like a harmless scene. Just Aurora getting permission to date, Robyn hovering like a mother hen, and Cody trying to play protective father. But the minute the episode aired, something felt off. And then Mykelti went live on Patreon. That is when everything snapped into place. According to her, the scene wasn't just staged, it was reverse engineered, meaning the moment didn't happen naturally at all. They already knew Aurora and Brody were serious. The family allegedly already met him. He had already been in her life long enough that he wasn't a new boyfriend at all. But the show needed a storyline. Robyn needed relevance. TLC needed drama. So suddenly we get an on-camera moment where Aurora acts like this is brand new, and Cody acts like his permission matters. And honestly, that is where the cracks start showing. Because if the relationship wasn't new, then what exactly were they trying to hide? Why build a storyline around a first boyfriend scene unless you are setting the stage for something bigger, like an engagement, a wedding, or dramatic parenting conflict? And that is exactly why this theory took off. A lot of viewers believe the show is planting seeds for Aurora's wedding storyline to replace the sister wives we no longer have. No Christine, no Janelle, no Mary. Robyn and Cody have no content left except their kids. But here's the twist. Mykelti said one line that changed everything. She said, "You only bring someone on the show if it's serious. Not casual, not new, serious." And that admission turned the fandom upside down. Because if Aurora and Brody are already serious enough to be introduced to millions of viewers, then the next step is obvious. Producers are circling for a storyline. Robyn is ready to milk it. And Cody, he's using it as another way to keep control of what's left of his family. Which leads us right into the next problem. Robyn is losing the narrative fast. People aren't buying the shy, anxious daughter. Navigating dating storyline. People aren't buying the protective father act. People aren't buying the sudden, dramatic interest Cody has in Aurora's purity and marriage readiness. The internet noticed something Robyn didn't expect. This looks planned, too planned. And Cody is way too invested in this young couple's future for it to be about fatherly care, and once fans started connecting this to Coyote Pass, the whole thing exploded. Because if Aurora becomes the first of Robyn's kids to get married, guess what Cody has a reason to push again? The land, the dream, the fresh start. But that's where things get messy. Robyn's narrative depends on looking like the stable, functional part of the family. A wedding storyline that's supposed to help her. Instead, it's starting to unravel everything she's been trying to protect. Alright, so now we need to talk about Coyote Pass. Yes, the same sprawling plotline of land and family drama that has haunted the Browns for years. You might think it's just a failed real estate dream, but here's the thing. It's tied directly to Aurora's wedding, and it's quietly turning Robyn's narrative into a complete mess. See, Cody has always had this obsession with the land. He's obsessed with legacy, with creating this idyllic plural marriage utopia that honestly hasn't existed for decades. And when the family started drifting away, older daughters moving out, Christine disengaging, Mary barely showing up, Robyn became the linchpin. She's supposed to keep the remaining storylines intact. But here's the kicker. Aurora's wedding gives Cody leverage. Think about it. A high-profile wedding of one of his daughters on the show does two things. It generates ratings, keeping Cody relevant in the eyes of TLC. It gives him a public reason to bring up Coyote Pass again, as though the land somehow needs to be tied to his daughter's marriage for it to matter. According to insiders, the wedding and the land narrative are strategically intertwined, and this isn't subtle. Cody is reportedly positioning the wedding as a proof of concept. See, this family is thriving. Coyote Pass is still important, and I'm the one holding it together. But here's where Robyn loses control. Remember, she spent years carefully shaping the narrative. She's the voice of order, the mother who balances Cody's chaos. But with Aurora stepping into her own adult life and Brody entering the picture seriously, Robyn suddenly has no authority. She can't dictate how viewers see Aurora's wedding. And she certainly can't influence Cody's obsession with linking it to Coyote Pass. The internet started noticing a pattern. Fans pieced together the following. Aurora and Brody have been serious for months. The first introduction scenes are staged. The wedding rumors are being teased deliberately. Cody keeps mentioning Coyote Pass in the context of his daughter's relationship. It's like clockwork. And what does that tell us? Simple. Robyn's narrative is slipping because Cody's angle isn't about the family's happiness. It's about optics. It's about power. It's about controlling how the world sees the Browns, even if it's at the expense of his own children's autonomy. And let's be honest, that's exactly why this whole Aurora wedding controversy is such a bombshell. The layers go deeper than just, will she get married on television? It's about legacy control and whose story actually matters, Cody's or Robyn's now, that we've connected Aurora's wedding drama to Coyote Pass. Let's talk about the internal family tensions that are quietly boiling over. Because if you think this is just a television storyline, think again. The real drama is happening off camera, and it's messy. According to insider sources, Robyn's control over the youngest daughters is slipping. She's always been the linchpin, the narrative anchor, making sure Cody looks like the responsible father and keeping the family storyline cohesive. But Aurora isn't a child anymore. She's a young adult making her own decisions, and that's throwing Robyn's carefully curated narrative into chaos. Here's where it gets interesting, Aurora's independence. She's not waiting for parental approval anymore, even if the cameras pretend she is. Brody has been in her life long enough that any staged meet the dad scene feels completely artificial. Fans can sense it, and apparently, so can the family. Sisterly opinions. Sources indicate that the older Brown daughters are noticing the staged nature of these introductions. They're questioning why Aurora is being forced into a storyline instead of being allowed to live her life off camera. And they're reportedly frustrated that Robyn seems to be orchestrating the narrative to fit Cody's needs, rather than the reality of Aurora's life. Cody's interference, he's acting like this is about protection or tradition. But insiders say it's really about control. He wants to dictate not just the timeline of Aurora's relationship, but how the audience perceives it. And that's causing tension with Robyn, who is supposed to be the voice of reason. It's becoming increasingly clear that Robyn is losing her authority. She can no longer control how the youngest daughter's stories are told, and Cody is exploiting that gap. This is a major turning point because Robyn has always relied on these storylines to maintain relevance on the show. Without control, her influence is diminishing, and the narrative she's carefully maintained for years is starting to crumble. What makes this even more explosive is how it ties to TLC's agenda. Producers reportedly love the drama, and Aurora's wedding offers them an easy way to generate buzz, ratings, and conflict. Even if it undermines Robyn's authority, Robyn may be trying to present a cohesive family image, but Cody's obsession with power, combined with TLC's desire for spectacle, is making that impossible. And honestly, this is just the tip of the iceberg. The family tensions aren't limited to Aurora and Cody. The dynamics with the other daughters, the extended family, and even the wider polygamist community all factor into why this story is spiraling. It's obvious that Robyn's role as the family's stabilizing force is under attack. For years, she's been the one orchestrating the storylines, managing Cody's chaos, and keeping the youngest daughters on track. But Aurora's upcoming wedding and the drama surrounding Coyote Pass are exposing cracks that can no longer be hidden. According to insiders, Robyn's authority is slipping in several ways. Aurora's autonomy, the staged first introduction, and the supposed permission scene highlight how little control Robyn actually has. Aurora is making independent decisions, but the cameras and narrative give the illusion that Robyn is directing her every move. The disconnect between what viewers see and what is actually happening behind the scenes is starting to undermine Robyn's credibility. Cody's manipulation. Cody is leveraging Aurora's wedding to push his own agenda, namely keeping Coyote Pass relevant. He's using the situation to regain some sense of control over the family, and Robyn's inability to counteract this move is a clear sign her influence is waning. Family perception. The older Brown daughters reportedly notice Robyn's struggle. They see the way Cody inserts himself into Aurora's decisions and how TLC amplifies the drama for ratings. This, combined with Robyn's inability to fully manage the narrative, makes her look weaker than ever, even if she's trying to maintain a composed exterior. What's crucial to understand here is that Robyn's diminishing authority isn't just about one daughter's wedding, it's about the entire perception of the family. Her carefully maintained image of control, maturity, and cohesion is unraveling on screen and behind the scenes. And let's be real, when your narrative collapses in front of millions of viewers, the impact is huge. This isn't a family drama. This is a public exposure of the cracks that Robyn has worked hard to keep hidden. Now the question is, how does Cody use this chaos for personal gain? That is where things get really interesting, because Aurora's wedding isn't just some sort of family milestone, it is a strategic opportunity for Cody. Now let's get into the part that really explains why this Aurora wedding controversy is such a big deal. Cody's motivations, because make no mistake, this isn't about celebrating a daughter's love story, it is about strategy, optics, and control. According to multiple insiders, Cody looks at Aurora's upcoming wedding as a perfect chance to regain relevance. The family has been shrinking on the show, older wives disengaging, older daughters moving out, and TLC still wants content. Cody knows a high-profile wedding brings ratings. A televised wedding is a guaranteed spike in views, clicks, and social media chatter. Coyote Pass revival. Cody can use the wedding as a public reason to bring up the land again. Suddenly, Coyote Pass isn't just a failed project. It is tied to his daughter's future, giving him a narrative hook to remain central. Control reinforcement by staging drama around permission, propriety, and tradition. Cody subtly reminds everyone, including the audience, that he still has influence over the youngest generation. Here is the catch. Insiders say Cody's maneuvering isn't subtle. He is reportedly orchestrating conflicts and feeding narratives to TLC producers that make him appear protective while keeping the focus on his legacy. Essentially, the wedding isn't just a wedding. It is a tool, And this is where it starts to clash with Robyn. She has been trying for years to maintain the family narrative as cohesive, mature, and functional. Cody, however, is turning the same storyline into a high-stakes chess game, and Robyn is suddenly one step behind. Think about it. If Aurora's wedding is used to highlight Cody's involvement in her life and tie back to Coyote Pass, it undermines Robyn's credibility, her role as the voice of reason, the anchor, and the functional parent starts to look performative. The narrative she has built for years begins to crumble, not because of her actions, but because Cody is hijacking the storyline for optics and leverage. And the most dangerous part: fans are noticing. Viewers online are piecing together clues, staged introductions, overly dramatic permission scenes, and hints about the land they're seeing through Cody's manipulations. And Robyn's narrative looks artificially constructed. All right, now we need to look at the reaction from the public, because this is really where the story starts to unravel for Robyn. When the Aurora wedding controversy hit social media, along with the drama around Coyote Pass, fans weren't shy about analyzing every moment, and their theories are starting to expose the hairline cracks that Robyn can't control. First of all, viewers called out the staging. The first introduction of Brody to Cody, the tense permission scene. Fans have been dissecting the footage and saying things like, "Aurora already seems comfortable. This isn't her first time meeting her dad about him. Cody is overdramatic." But this feels like it's for the cameras. Robyn's reactions seem forced. She's clearly trying to maintain control, but Cody is running the show. These comments alone show that the audience is reading between the lines. And once fans get it in their head that certain interactions might be staged or exaggerated, it undermines the narrative Robyn has worked so hard to keep up, the image of the stable, controlled, matriarchal presence in the family. Next come the fan theories, which are even more telling. Wedding as a ratings tool. Fans believe TLC is using Aurora's wedding as a way to generate engagement, not because it's the natural next step in her life. Coyote Pass revival. Some believe Cody is using the wedding to tie himself into Coyote Pass to make it look like he's still central to the family's future, even though the land has been abandoned for years. Control over daughters. There's a theory floating around, which is that Cody is using this wedding to subtly reinforce the idea that his daughters belong to him until he approves their relationships, a notion that fans are calling outdated and controlling. And here's the thing that matters. Robyn can't fight these perceptions. The more the public scrutinizes the wedding storyline and Cody's motives, the less control she has over the family narrative. Every staged scene, every tense reaction, every mention of Coyote Pass becomes ammunition for fans to critique the family dynamics. But it doesn't stop there. There's also a layer of insider commentary, former family friends, Patreon insiders, and even older brown daughters weighing in online. They're adding fuel to the fire, confirming suspicions about staged introductions and control dynamics. This multi-layered scrutiny puts Robyn in a difficult position. She can no longer present a cohesive story because both Cody's actions and the public's reactions are out of her control. Now, let's dig into what's really happening beneath the surface. Cody's mindset, because understanding why he behaves the way he does is key to seeing why Aurora's wedding and Coyote Pass are creating so much tension, and why Robyn's narrative is being destroyed. Sources close to the family suggest that Cody's actions are motivated by a combination of fear, ego, and legacy obsession. Here's how that breaks down. Fear of irrelevance. Fake Cody knows that as the family ages and older daughters move out, his visibility on the show diminishes. By inserting himself into Aurora's wedding storyline and tying it to Coyote Pass, he forces the spotlight back on him. He's desperate to remain the center of both the family and the show. Ego and control. Faye insiders repeatedly mention Cody's need to maintain authority over his children, especially the younger daughters. The staged permission scenes aren't just for drama, they reinforce a subtle message. I have a say in your relationships, your milestones, and your life decisions. Legacy obsession. Faye Cody's vision of Coyote Pass isn't just land. It's symbolic of the plural marriage utopia he once promised and failed to deliver. By connecting Aurora's wedding to the property, he's attempting to revive that dream and cement his relevance, even if it's purely symbolic. And here's where it all collides with Robyn. She has spent years trying to maintain stability and credibility for the family. Cody's behavior, however, actively undermines that. Every time he manipulates a storyline for optics or ratings, Robyn loses authority, and the public sees it. The psychology here is critical. Cody isn't acting out of malice toward Robyn, at least not entirely. He's acting out of self-preservation and control, and he's willing to sacrifice the family's cohesion to maintain it. This mindset explains why the Aurora wedding and Coyote Pass drama have become such a lightning rod. The events aren't just milestones, they're tools in a larger power struggle, one that Robyn has little leverage to influence. Now, let's turn the spotlight on Aurora and Brody, the couple at the heart of this storm. Because while Cody and Robyn's tug of war dominates the narrative, it's Aurora and Brody who are quietly reshaping it, whether they intend to or not. Insiders reveal that Aurora has been much more independent than the show portrays. She's serious about Brody, and their relationship isn't some casual fling waiting for reality television dramatization. Yet, the cameras and Cody's interference create the illusion of uncertainty, making every scene appear tense and dramatic even when it's not. Brody, for his part, is reportedly calm and grounded, which only contrasts with Cody's theatrics. Instead of reacting emotionally to Cody's controlling moments, Brody maintains composure, which fans online have picked up on. That contrast exposes Cody's manipulation and makes Robyn's attempts at narrative control look forced. Here's why this matters. Aurora's autonomy undermines staged drama fae. Every time Aurora acts like an adult with her own decisions, it highlights the artificial nature of the permission and introduction scenes. Viewers notice, and it shifts the story away from Robyn's controlled narrative. Brody as a stabilizing force, Brody doesn't play into Cody's games. His calm, steady presence makes Cody's dramatics seem excessive, which in turn diminishes Robyn's ability to present the family as harmonious and orderly. The wedding as a battleground fae, because Aurora and Brody are serious. The wedding isn't just a milestone, it becomes a focal point of family power dynamics. Cody can use it to assert authority, but Aurora and Brody's independence pushes back on that control, even if only incidentally. In fact, fans online are already theorizing that Aurora's choices will directly determine how much influence Cody has over the younger generation going forward. Should she move forward on her own terms, that signals a shift. The daughters are no longer under Robyn or Cody's narrative control. And that threatens the story Robyn spent years trying to protect. To understand why Aurora's wedding is such a source of tension, you have to look at their family history, and Cody's favoritism, which insiders claim plays a big role in the current conflicts. Over the years, Cody has time and time again shown preferential treatment toward certain daughters, particularly the youngest. Aurora would fall into this category, however. According to insiders, Brianna and Ariella get the most attention and truly is always overlooked. That is not only about affection but directly translates into the creation and control of storylines. The girls who get the favor of Cody often remain more in the foreground of the show, their stage of life exaggerated for drama and manipulated into whatever relationship needs to be told by the producers. On the other hand, less favored daughters often don't get included in the storyline, reinforcing the notion of a family imbalance. Robyn has long relied on being that balancing weight against Cody's favoritism, trying to keep things fair between the daughters. Still, the further Aurora and Brody's relationship goes, and thus the development of a wedding storyline, the less capable Robyn seems of holding on to that narrative control. For instance, fans have pointed out telling moments of tension, awkward camera angles, strained dialogue, and even places where Robyn attempts a semblance of authority, only to be overshadowed by Cody's theatrics. But again, outside of this very skewed dynamic Robyn has built, the family history of conflict and polygamy related drama complicates things. It's always been a careful balancing act for Robyn to create this illusion of harmony, but coupled with internal favoritism and manufactured storylines, it's hard to keep up the smoke and mirrors that denote balance. Insiders close to them claim that it is a history that fuels their growing resentment, as daughters feel that their autonomous decision-making is being sacrificed for ratings and Cody's personal ambition. Whether on-screen favoritism, historical conflict, or the manufactured wedding storyline, the perfect storm has been set in motion to threaten to implode Robyn's narrative. The show perpetuates unity, while off-screen, the family legacy and manipulations of Cody are chiseling away at her authority and influence. Now let's focus on TLC's role in all of this, because you can't fully understand the chaos surrounding Aurora's wedding and Coyote Pass without acknowledging the network's influence. According to insiders, the network isn't just passively filming events, they are actively shaping storylines to maximize drama and engagement. And unfortunately for Robyn, that often means her carefully curated narrative is being undermined on purpose. For starters, TLC reportedly stages key moments, like the permission scene where Aurora asks Cody's blessing or the awkward introductions of Brody. While the words spoken might be real, the context is manipulated to heighten tension and drama, creating a narrative that keeps viewers hooked. Robyn's attempts to manage the situation are often bypassed or edited in ways that make her appear controlling or disconnected, even if she's simply trying to maintain order. Insiders have also highlighted the way TLC positions the family in contrast to Cody's theatrics. Cody's dramatic gestures are emphasized through camera angles, music cues, and selective editing, making him seem larger than life and central to the storyline. Meanwhile, Robyn's reactions are downplayed, sometimes framed as reactive or overly cautious. This subtle framing erodes her authority in the eyes of viewers, even if she remains the stabilizing force behind the scenes. Another production tactic reportedly involves creating tension between daughters and parents. By staging scenarios where Cody and Robyn appear in conflict, producers amplify the sense of drama surrounding Aurora's wedding. They know that fans are invested in Cody's obsession with Coyote Pass and the youngest daughters, and they exploit that by highlighting moments that suggest division and power struggles. And here's the kicker. TLC benefits directly from this strategy. The more the narrative seems fractured, the more Robyn appears to lose control, the higher the engagement fans comment, theorize, and watch multiple times to dissect the drama. In other words, Robyn's narrative collapse is profitable for the network, even if it undermines her credibility and influence within the family. Finally, insiders suggest that every staged moment is also tied back to ratings opportunities. Aurora and Brody's marriage is the perfect case in point. The ready-made storyline, from romance and family conflict to legacy drama, is intertwined with Coyote Pass to ensure maximum attention. Robyn, who once kept careful control over how her family was perceived, is now at the mercy of network decisions that place spectacle over authenticity. For now, though, we move the focus onto the daughters themselves, since the Aurora wedding controversy isn't just about Robyn or Cody. It is also about how the children navigate through autonomy, favoritism, and family legacy. This is where the cracks in Robyn's narrative become most evident, as her attempts to maintain order clash with the daughters' independent choices. Insiders say she stands out among the younger daughters for insisting on exerting her autonomy. She has been serious with Brody for months and is taking an active role in making decisions about her relationship without waiting for any parental seal of approval, in contrast to what cameras might suggest. Such independence goes against Robyn's carefully nurtured narrative, where the tension between staged drama and real-life agency is revealed. Meanwhile, some daughters react differently based on Cody's favoritism. The supposed most favored, Brianna and Ariella, are so often used as narrative tools to reinforce Cody's centrality and retain the semblance of family unity. Truly, who has been historically less favored, seems less involved in the storylines, and the subtle divisions arising can be picked up by fans. Such uneven treatment amplifies tension and makes Robyn's attempts at control appear inconsistent. The daughter's autonomy meets up with family legacy concerns. Cody is so obsessed with Coyote Pass and staged wedding dynamics, not only for drama, but also to make sure that the family, particularly his favorite daughters, stay in alignment with his vision. Aurora's choices, therefore, are a subtle act of defiance, whether she intends them to be so or not. Every step toward independence, whether it is bringing Brody into the story or making decisions about the wedding, reveals the fragile nature of Robyn's narrative control. This also brings into question the parental authority against adult autonomy. Robyn has long positioned herself as a voice of reason, attempting to balance Cody's theatrics with practical guidance. But as the daughters assert their independence, particularly in high-profile storylines like Aurora's wedding, Robyn's influence becomes increasingly marginalized. Fans have noticed these shifts, and online discourse reflects growing scrutiny about favoritism, staged conflict, and parental overreach. Finally, it is not just the daughter's autonomy, Cody's manipulations and TLC production choices that bring about a perfect storm. Robyn's carefully curated narrative is no longer the dominant story. Instead, it is being reshaped by real decisions, stage drama, and public perception. As we approach the climax of this story, it would appear that Aurora's wedding controversy is not just one event, but rather a microcosm of larger polygamist power dynamics that have shaped this family over decades. Conflict between autonomy, control, favoritism, and legacy all converges in this one high-profile event, revealing cracks in both family relationships and the carefully constructed narrative Robyn has maintained for years. Insiders report that the wedding represents a symbolic battleground for several competing forces: parental control versus adult autonomy. Aurora is asserting her independence in a way that challenges both Cody and Robyn's influence. While the permission scenes have been staged to make it feel like parental approval is central, insiders reveal that Aurora and Brody have been making real decisions without needing anyone's consent. This subtle defiance exposes the artificiality of the narrative Robyn has tried to control, showcasing the tension between genuine autonomy and scripted family drama. Favoritism and legacy pressure. Cody's favoritism toward younger daughters combined with his obsession over Coyote Pass adds layers of complexity. The wedding becomes a public reminder of which children are centered in the family storyline and whose actions reinforce Cody's vision. Aurora's independence challenges this hierarchy, suggesting the next generation may not be willing to conform to the same patterns that have governed the family for decades. Production manipulation and public scrutiny. TLC's involvement intensifies the drama. By editing, staging, and highlighting specific moments like tense introductions or permission scenes, the network magnifies conflicts that would otherwise be private or subtle. Her attempts to present a harmonious family image are being reshaped by both real-life actions and production decisions, creating an unavoidable tension between authenticity and spectacle. The interplay of past and present historical conflicts, including polygamist disagreements and prior family disputes, feed into the current tension. Aurora's wedding doesn't exist in isolation. It is intertwined with past favoritism, unresolved sibling resentments, and legacy expectations. Cody's fixation on Coyote Pass, combined with Robyn's desire to maintain stability, means the wedding is both a personal milestone and a strategic moment for narrative control, making it a perfect storm of interpersonal and public tension. Ultimately, the controversy surrounding Aurora's wedding reflects the ongoing struggle between individuality and legacy in a polygamist family. Robyn's narrative, built on the appearance of cohesion, is increasingly challenged by real-life decisions, Cody's manipulations, and fan scrutiny. The event exposes the fragility of her control while simultaneously highlighting the broader dynamics of power, autonomy, and hierarchy within the family. Here we are at the conclusion. Aurora's wedding controversy and the Coyote Pass drama have not only captivated viewers but also exposed the limits of Robyn's control over the Brown family narrative. What was meant to be a celebration of love has become a lightning rod for tensions, power struggles, and legacy conflicts that ripple across the entire family. Insider sources reveal several critical consequences. Robyn's diminished authority, Aurora, asserting her independence, combined with Cody's manipulations and TLC's production decisions, has weakened Robyn's role as the stabilizing figure. Fans and insiders alike are noticing that she no longer dictates the storyline. Instead, her narrative is being reactively shaped by events outside her control. Shift in public perception, social media, and fan commentary have amplified the controversy, dissecting staged moments, favoritism, and family dynamics. Public perception now increasingly favors Aurora's autonomy and Cody's theatrics, leaving Robyn's carefully maintained image of cohesion and rational authority looking fragile. Impact on family dynamics. The fallout isn't limited to cameras. Within the family, tensions around favoritism, autonomy, and legacy have intensified. The youngest daughters, particularly Aurora, are no longer under the control of their parents. And this change from within threatens the long-entrenched patterns of controls and hierarchies that Robyn relies on for stability. TLC's continued role, yet by manipulating ratings through narrative, these conflicts are magnified. While Robyn's credibility diminishes, the show thrives on drama, creating a paradox where her loss of control fuels viewership. Each staged scene, every tension-filled conversation, or awkward introduction now serves as both a narrative disruption for Robyn and a storyline opportunity for the network. The legacy question, arguably more to the point, Aurora's wedding and the Coyote Pass saga signal a generational shift. The next wave of Brown family members is asserting autonomy, questioning the parents for authority, and pushing against the old patterns of polygamist control. This may permanently change how the story of the family will be told and the way power was divided, and Robyn's influence as a stabilizing matriarch stands at a crossroads. In the final analysis, Aurora's wedding is much more than a personal milestone. It's a catalyst that exposes long-held tensions, tests familial authority, and challenges the narrative Robyn has fought so hard to maintain. With Cody leveraging drama for control, TLC amplifying conflicts for ratings, and Aurora leading the charge in independence, the Brown family has entered a new chapter, one in which traditional authority, staged narratives, and real-life autonomy collide in ways that could permanently reshape the family story. Robyn's narrative is no longer the anchor of the Brown family. Aurora's wedding and Coyote Pass drama have shattered an illusion of cohesion, leaving behind a complex legacy of power control and autonomy for the public and family alike to witness. It is not a story about one wedding, but a family at a crossroads, and it will be a long time before the consequences are felt.